Hello. Let's see here. Let me. Whoops. Sorry about that. Let me see here if I'm live yet. Guess who's barking in the background? Obviously. It's my trouble child, right? Ugh, I tell ya. All right. So how is everyone? Happy Wednesday. I cannot believe it's almost the end of July. It's like, what the hey? We're getting there, right? So tonight I'm going to show the Mediterranean Blooms Suite, and we're going to have some fun with this because I not only have a fun fold, but I have a different technique that I added to it. So it's just going to have a whole different kind of feel to it. So pretty fun though. Tonight, the fold that I'm going to share is called the split panel card, and it's very simple. And then I added another element to it, and I made it into a what's it called? Split panel, and I made it into a split panel shaker card. So that's going to be really fun. So, let me first show you the products, and I'll go down to my desktop here and show you what that suite looks like. All right, so you can find this suite in the new annual catalog, and it's on page 34 and 35. And it's just gorgeous, especially if you like me. I love Mediterranean, like anything. I love the colors, I love the food, I love the buildings. I mean, just I love everything Mediterranean. And so this is a beautiful designer series paper. It's got your tile look, which I think they're pretty famous for. Their tile work, and it also has some really cool dies. So let me show you those products real fast. So this is the stamp set, and it's really pretty. I love the background little stamp. You can do a lot with little stamps like this to create your own like designer series paper and backgrounds and cards. It's pretty fun. And you know, these stamps also mimic what's on some of the designer series papers, and then we also have dies, so you can not only stamp and use the stamped image, but you can use the designer series paper with the dies, so that's pretty cool. And I love the sentiments. It's hello, all the love, you're the best kind of person, and just checking in. So that's pretty fun. Now this is just some of the dies. Of course, I have some of them out that we're going to use tonight. And then let's see, the paper, and this is paper is called the Mediterranean Blooms 12 by 12, and it's really pretty with I love the colors. So you have your orange blossoms, and then the other side you have a tile, and we have some lemons, blossoms, and then another tile. And here's a mixture of both lemons and oranges with the larger tile. Here you have just a small floral print and these match the stamps, the flowers that you have. So that coordinates really well. And there's another tile. And this is just a different size of lemons in a different tile. And then you have some oranges with your tiles. So it's pretty fun. There's a couple things I just wanted to mention. Like I said, the dies do coordinate with some of the blooms. I believe these two have coordinating the dies. And then these flowers in here also have, you get 4 of the larger flower, and you get 2 of the larger flower and then 2 of the smaller. And so you can cut these out on your designer series paper, so you don't really have to do any coloring if you don't want to or don't choose to. And I'm going to use these in the card tonight, but that's what they would look like, just cut out from the designer series paper. So that's pretty fun. And I like how they do multiple dies so that you can do a lot of cutting at once. Another thing I did is when you see the cards that I made, make the best use of your designer series paper that you can. So what I mean by that is in some of my cards, I didn't want to use a very large image, but I did want to incorporate these blooms and fruit into the cards. So I chose to go around the edges of the paper, and you can see how there's just a small image here, and I used that in my card. So don't forget to use even these pieces of artwork that are not totally complete. Another idea is this is leftover, right? This is a negative. So what I can do is I can go around and just see how this would look. Obviously, either cut a different one or trim this one up, but I can go around the edges and find a smaller picture that would fit in this, and then I can use that possibly as a background. So it's just some ideas to get the most out of your designer series paper. So that's the papers in the suite. And if you're not too much of the blooms, you don't want to use the fruit. I think that's what's really cool about having a tile background is the other side. So you can still use that. And the only other extra products that I used that weren't part of the suite I just used some window sheets because, like I said, I'm going to make a shaker card out of this fun fold. And I went back to my Distress Tile 3D embossing folder. I love this thing. So I thought that worked really well with the Tile Designer Series papers. And then, you can do shaker cards to, different ways. And so the traditional way is you build your layers. And so I do have one card I made that way. And I just wanted to show these products because I don't think people really realize that we have them. But these are foam adhesive strips. And you can find those on page 117. And they're $8.25, and you get a strip of this. And then just so for your information, because a lot of people might not be aware, but we do have foam adhesive sheets. And so these are foam pieces, and you can, I've used it for an H, but you can take your dies and cut through. And so if you want to do a shaker card in a specific shape, you can use these adhesive sheets. It might take some little work to get through it to cut your die, but it's another fun way to make a a shaker card. So those are some products, and that you can also find on page 117. And then these embellishments are part of the suite. So they're real pretty. A couple different sizes. They're navy, native navy, and then you get your daffodil delight, and then your pearly iridescent. So those are pretty fun. So I used those tonight, and then to do my shaker cards, I did some of the champagne iridescent dots and some loose frosted dots. So these are products that we have as well. But I also did my up to my old tricks of using silica bags. And I'll show you those in a little bit. So those are the products I'm going to use. And if you are wondering, well, what is a, whoops, did I go blank? What is this card, this fun fold? It is, looks like this. And so this again is called a split panel, and I added the shaker card element to it. Okay, so it opens like this. It's kind of a large card to fit into my screen, but when it opens up, it looks like that. And the reason I added the shaker card, I thought it's just such a fun, it would look like this. And since it's such a fun opening, I thought, why not make this a shaker card? And then I added some of my embellished dots to the tip, and now it'll stand up. So when a person gets this card, it's kind of like an easel card, but it's got a whole different opening style, right? So this is what they'll see on their desk. Kind of hard to show. And then the inside, then you have plenty of room to write, but I chose to use this to just decorate with the dies. And then I left plenty of space here to write. So that is the card that we're going to make. Typically, you would make this card, you would just build on your back, piece of cardstock, and then just decorate it like you normally would the front of a card. But I added the shaker card element. So this is what we're going to make tonight. It's super easy. Now this is a shaker card that's using an easier way than having to build your shaker element, right? If you don't use the bag, you have to use like the adhesive strips I was showing. And so I just chose to go this route, but I did make one traditional one that is with building your base. So to begin this, and I do have some samples I will show at the end, we're going to make this card. So this card is so easy, you guys. It's just super fun. So let me take this. I'm going to move this over to the side, and I'm going to cut my pieces. So for the card base, well, actually, there's the base is only 3 inches, the center panel, and so you're going to take an 11 by 11 and a half by 8 piece of paper, and you're just going to cut it at 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. All right, and then we're going to score this piece at 2 inches and 6.5. And oops, put my arm out here. All right, so that's our center panel. And then we're going to take and make our 2 front and back pieces. And they're just going to be your regular cardstock, your base size. So they're 4.25 by 5.5. All right. And let's see, what else do we need? I need to cut a scrap of yellow because we got to make the elements that we're going to put inside our card, our envelope. I'm going to make it I'm going to do one at 1.5 inches, and this is just for stamping, so it's not like it's a precise thing. And then I'm going to do one though at 3/4 of an inch because my sentiment, I want that to be that wide. All right. And I think, oh no, and then we also need to cut our designer series paper. Wow, I don't know what I have in my cutting machine, but my trimmer, but this is not good. I'm going to clean this out right here. Lots of fuzz. All right, and so then because I want to make the best of my designer series paper, what I do a lot of times is I just place the die that I'm going to be using in here, and I can see if I do like 4.25, that will give me enough designer series paper without wasting too much of it, right? We like our papers, don't we? So I think that is all I need to cut. All right. I'm going to stick those here. You want the dimensions. All right, so hi Barb, I'm so happy to see you. I hope your week's going good. I am totally, I have not had this much fuzz on paper cutting before. So, but anyway, that's good. All right, and then we are going to, so let's take a look at our card. All right, so basically this is just a plain piece of cardstock, right? And this is all die work, and this is a plain piece of cardstock, so we're really just going to be cutting some more dies here. So, and we're going to make our insides. So what I've made in here, I have regular silica, you know, what would these be, balls? And I have taken regular the Daffodil Delight cardstock, and I took and used some Wink of Stella to just get some dimension with some color. And I don't think I used any of the flowers on the inside of this one. So we're going to make our stars. And then we're also going to color our silica balls. So we'll do that afterwards. But pretty much that's it. So I'm just going to bring in my cutting machine here. I had company today, and so I'm kind of discombobulated. My stepdaughter from Poland and her lovely children, they were over, and we just had such a fun time. Hi, Jen. How are you? It is a fun card. All right, let's see. I got this one. I am missing one of my plates. I swear. Here we go. All right, so we need to cut our foliage. And if you notice, this die, you will not actually be able to cut with this. This does not have a cutting edge around here. So that's what you need this one for. And so we will line this up so this will actually cut then this inside die. So we're going to line those up. And then I'm going to adhere a little tape here because I want this to not move on me. And you just want to kind of space it so that it's even all the way around. I have to get some tape first. All right. Today in Minnesota was the most gorgeous day. Am I right, ladies? It's just awesome. All right, so I'm going to run this through. Alrighty. So there's our inside. I'm trying not to tear the, there we go. All right. So there we have that piece. Okay, and then I'm going to take, and while I have this out, I'm going to cut our inside piece. And this is going to be on the middle layer of the card. Yes, Jen, I am using both dies. if you don't use the second die, and I will show you one of my other cards. I will show you kind of what it looks like when you don't use the outline die, the cutting edge. All right. Okay, I have to look at my card because I always never remember how many things I have to cut. Oh, yep, and we still have. And then we have to take the outline, then I'm going to use the outline, the cutting one, and I'm going to use that by itself, and that's what's going to cut my inside floral. We have that piece. All right, I think I'll move this out of here. I think we're done with that. And then when you get these dies, they lay inside of each other. And so that's how you'll get them when you get them. So what would happen when you use this, and you'll see it, is it won't cut this edge, right? So if I cut a piece of paper that's 5.5 by 4.25, say, so that would be the same size as my card base that I'm going to use, I would put this on here, and I've already made a border by cutting the size of the paper down to what I need. Does that make sense? And so so you can put this inside of anything that you want to create and it'll just be part of whatever size paper you're using. Does that make sense? So, and you'll see on one of the cards I made how that worked using the traditional shaker card. So this die set, this is part of the Mediterranean Blooms suite, and it's called Citrus Bloom Dies. So it's part of the suite, Jen. It's on page 34 and 35, where you can see them all. All right, so we have our dies all cut out. So I'm going to have to do some cleaning up here with getting these all cleared out. Let me see what I do. Here we go. Now I could have used a brush to get these out, but it's really not too many that are, and they come out quite easily. Sometimes if you're using a very detailed die, it works to put wax paper and rub it across your die, and that before you do the cutting, and that actually helps to make sure that the pieces all come out easily. Or you can use a brush with a that we have as well. So I think it looks good. All right, this one, oh yes, this one is going to be a little trickier, of course. Yes, you're right, Jen. You don't get the rounded corners. Exactly. um, no, Jen. So, the silica beads, I will definitely show you and you will laugh. You probably will remember this when you see them because I've talked about them before. But you know me, I'm a pack rat. I don't throw away anything. And when I discovered that I could take those silica packets and use them in stamping, wow, I was all over that. All right, I only have one more to pop out here. And we are ready. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And so let me clear this stuff out of here. Okay. So I am going to, let's see, how about if, I'm trying to decide what we should do next. All right, let's take and build our pieces. I think, yeah, let's build our pieces here. All right, so for the inside, we're going to do a couple things. On this card, I kept it fairly simple. I'm going to fill it, I filled it with the silica, and I also colored some of the silica balls, and then I also made these little flowers. So the dies that you also get that I didn't show you, besides the ones I just used, you get these flowers. And so you can do, I love it when they give you multiples, because when you're cutting things and making things, you don't want to have to go through that die machine 100 times, right? So you have all these little flowers. Now these flowers here, they all go with some of the designer series paper, and they also go with the stamps. So you have these little flowers in the stamp sets as well. So so you can either stamp your flowers and color them or any way you want. You could do blue and white flowers to go with the tile. Whatever. So those, you know, but they do coordinate with the designer series paper. These are just freestyle like flowers, right? So what we're gonna do, I made these flowers different ways for all the different cards. So one of the ways I did it was I took, let's see, I took my good old Wink of Stella and I just washed it across the Daffodil Delight cardstock. Okay, and I used quite a bit. I really squeezed it out so that now it's going to be really strong. So I just did this to get a different look, right? So I'm only using cardstock, so it's another really inexpensive way. All right, and then we also have what we call metallic enamel effects, and you get 3 of them. So you get silver, you get copper, and you get gold. So what I might try to do this time, I'm going to try making some with this as well. So it's just a different look. And so I'm just going to take a paintbrush. Now I haven't really played with this too much, so we're just playing here, right? This is This is kind of how we figure stuff out, right? So part of my problem, this brush has got something from it from some other project I did, right? So it's a different look, but it's got sparkles, it's shimmery, and that's the main thing, I think, right? So you can see the difference, I think. So there's our Rinkestella up here, and then this is the enamel stuff. So different look totally, right? So we're going to just take this cardstock, and I'm just going to lay some of these on here. I could also, I think also what I'm going to do is take the flowers, and I'm going to stamp them on this as well, and I'm going to use the same color as what the cardstock is. So this is Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to stamp that on here as well. Okay, and because I'm not going to color them or anything, and I'm just going to do a couple of them, I'm going to take, and if you notice the flowers that are on the card itself, it's got the Cajun craze in there in the center. So I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. Whoops. I'm going to take and add some color to the centers. And I'm just going to do dots. Okay, so that's a totally different look as well. So let's see what I did there. My lighting doesn't seem very good. I don't know why. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do then, so that's what I made. That's how I made the little flowers that are floating around inside here, and you can see them in here. All right, so I'm gonna run this through the machine real quick, and I'm just gonna add gonna cut these out here. I like making fun things like this. It just is just using your stuff and getting more out of it, right? That's what makes your designs unique, is when you get to just kind of see what happens. No, that's not right. How about this one? That looks right. Okay. Hi, Cindy. How are you? Thank you for sharing. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple times here with this, and I'll be right back. Just a little easier. Oh, do you guys remember when I lost a die on one of my videos a couple of months ago? I still haven't found it. And I never moved from my chair. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Story of my life. So I started cutting some of the flowers from the designer series paper because I thought, oh, I'll save time. Yeah, and now I'm doing this because it's just fun. I like to show you guys things that are different. So here's my first batch. All right. And let's see. Okay. Here's another one. All right. And I'm going to do some on the gold just to see what that looks like. Okay. So these were the Wink of Stella card star or flowers. Oops. You still with me? I tell ya. And so these are the enamel, the gold enamel. So they definitely have a different look. And I'll hold them up closer here once I get them out. Wow, they really want to stay in there. Okay. Oh yeah, so they're totally a different look. I kind of like them. Let me see what these guys look like. All right, so here are our little flowers that we stamped. And then I used the Stampin' Blends in to just add some dots to the center of our flowers. These are our gold enamel, and it's a more subtle sparkle, but it's nice. I like it. It looks kind of antique-y looking, kind of. And then these are our Wink of Stella, which, you know, they're the dazzlers, so that's, we all know how Wink of Stella sparkles, right? It's the best. Okay, so these are three totally different looks, and all you're using is cardstock and your dies. So when you're making a shaker card, this is just a fun way to add some elements into your shaker card. And then these are what I cut out from the designer series paper. And those will be, I'll be using those on the inside panel of our card. I just thought I'd save time, but I ended up doing this anyway. So yeah, so but it's good to show different ways, right? All right, so I don't want these to all turn over, because that's one thing when you want to fill up your shaker cards, you want everything facing the right direction, right? So I want to make sure these don't go into the envelope upside down. So I'm going to put this little pile here to the side, and hopefully I don't do anything to it. Okay, so we have quite the pile of little stars. Or not stars, they're flowers. I keep calling them stars. All right, so this is the inside of our card, right? And so what did we do with the panels that we cut? Here they are. All right, and I lost, you know, how do I lose things, you guys? I'm sitting right here, have not moved. All right, so these are the bases. So our main objective is this card comes together. It's very simple. We're just going to center this with an equal border around, right? And so this long part is going to get folded in this direction. And then the top piece is going to go in the opposite direction. Okay. So I'm going to take my bottom piece and I'm just going to take and center this. All right. A lot of this I've been using liquid glue, but we're going to use this stuff tonight and see how it goes. I love liquid glue, you know, because you can move it around. And sometimes, especially it seems like when I'm on camera, I always mess stuff up. All right. So we're going to center this. You want to make sure that this is the part that's going to be for the top. And I'm just going to center this. I'm leaving a little extra space because, like I said, I modified this card to make it a shaker card and an easel card, basically, is what it's going to turn out to be as well. So I want a little bit more space maybe down here, but we'll see. Oh gosh, I didn't even realize. Is that better? I'm just, yeah. All right, and so then we're going to take and we're going to build. We might as well build our inside. And so I just kept this very simple. The inside middle piece, all I did was add this greenery and two of the flowers. So of course you have to Winkostella the flowers, right? What did I do with them? So I'm going to do that. And hopefully it's not, ooh, it is pretty heavy. Oh well, just that much more sparkle. You can still see the definition of the lines. Ooh, just makes such a difference. Look at the difference between Winkostella and not Winkostella. I don't even know if you can see that. Oh. Now, trust me, it's beautiful. So we're going to do that with both of those. All right. And then I'm going to use, oops, I got to get some glue here. All right. So this card is so simple to actually put together. And yet it's such a fun fold. It's something that's going to be really well received, right? People are going to love this card. And if you're wondering, it does actually fit in an envelope. But I don't know that I would necessarily send it in an envelope. I maybe would put it maybe in one of those puffer envelopes, you know, those, what do you call them? Oh, thank you. Aren't they fun? I love these nails. That's my new obsession, you guys. Oh my gosh. My nails are fun. They just are, I don't know. It just makes me feel more put together, I guess. And we know that's, I need to look that way. All right, so then I'm just going to throw these on, and I just use regular liquid glue. I did not like pop it up at all. And we'll just figure out, let's see, we'll just put it right there. And we'll throw this one. Now I left the blank, the bottoms, pretty blank because I don't know exactly what I will use when I use these cards, who it's going to go to. But I did dress it up, you know, with just a little bit of designer series paper. So I'm going to put that on as well. And I think this is a scrap, so I think it's the 3 inches. We'll find out, I guess. Yikes. Yes, Jen, the nails I sell are red aspen. I actually am starting a group. I don't know if you joined it or not. Yes, a bubble envelope. Thank you, Barb. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love red aspen. So yeah, check it out. I'm sure I invited you. I'm not sure if you're in the group yet or not. I've been so kind of crazy busy lately, but yes, they're so fun. All right, so we have this part done. So all I'm going to do now is we're going to start building our envelope. And wouldn't you believe it? I forgot to grab an envelope. Let me find one. I hear you, Cindy. I need to feel put together somehow. All right, I have lots of envelopes around here. I want to make sure these are the right ones. All right, so we are going to start building this piece. So if you look at my card, so the inside, what I did was I took my designer series paper and then I just basically attached it, centered it, and attached it to my cardstock. Super simple, right? So I'm going to okay. So we're going to put this down and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. All right. Easy peasy. So now I'm going to I'm just going to put this in my envelope. Okay. There's your shaker card. So it's a lot easier than the way you probably remember shaker cards. You know, you had to build it up, which I did do that on one of them to show the difference. You might not like this look. You might like more of a traditional shaker card look, but I just wanted to show this because it is such a easy way if you're just going to do a complete shaker card for a whole card, right? Oops, that one didn't go in right. And then we got one more rogue one here. So those are our little flowers. So those are in. Now we're going to take, this is my silica gel beads that I was talking about. So I keep all these whenever I get, you know, in our packaging, we always, you know, get this stuff, right? So they're all different, and some of them are clear, some of them are colors. This is ones that I've taken. Now those are really fun, right? Those are really earthy. So I can use that in a card. Here's some like grayish looking ones. They're a little bit larger. So super fun. So don't throw these things away, right? You can use them. So what we're gonna do, hopefully, I'm gonna cut a couple of these open. So they're different sizes. Some of them are larger, some are smaller. So I'm gonna cut a couple of these open, and let's just see what we have here. And these are going to roll around your desk like crazy. So it's kind of like the backs of the dimensionals. These things, you will find them everywhere in your house. Am I right? Does anyone relate to that? Oh my God, they're everywhere. All right, so let's take and cut this open. All right, we got some nice, larger, clear balls. So that's one size. I don't know if these are, well, it says silica gel. So let's see what these look like. Ooh, these are like a medium. They're little bits, well, there's different sizes. Okay, so there's multiple sizes. So we're going to do 3 different colors, I think. We're going to take, and now in the past, I have colored these using reinkers. You know, I just take our reinker bottles and I pour them into, you know, a little tin or whatnot, and let them dry and move them around and stuff like that. This time around, I thought, you know what? I wonder what a blend would do, because that's an alcohol ink, and so I'm going to try it. And you don't have to have water then, and you don't have to wait for it to dry if it works, right? So it totally worked. So this one over here. All right, so I'm going to coordinate then, because our blends, so do not throw away, guys. Trust me, you'll find really fun treasures in there. So I'm going to do it tonight with, I'm going to use the brush side of let's see, we'll do pumpkin pie. And so I'm just going to roll this around in here, and I'm just using my and you don't want to press hard because you don't want to ruin your blender pen, right? This one's old. It's kind of had a it's had a busy life, so it looks kind of like it's already kind of ruined, but it works still. So I'm just doing this to just get some color on here. Another fun thing is you don't have to wait for this to dry necessarily. All right. And you can do it for as long as you want. Now, if you want a really deep, deep color, you can use the inks. I'm going to use Old Olive, the dark one, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now, this blend, it's probably newer. This blending pen, it really totally is giving a lot better ink coverage on these. So look how cool, right? Ooh, I just about tipped it over too. All right, and then I'm going to leave some of them clear. Did I use the dark? Oh, and I haven't used yellow yet. All right, so let's try some yellow. We're going to do the dark daffodil. And it's just, woo, it's going crazy. Yep, by the time I get done filming this, I'll have these things everywhere. So what I'm doing is I'm coloring these to actually match my designer series paper and my inks. I can do this with all the colors. And so there you have it. Oh, fun. I'm so glad. So, if I used, so let me cut, I could actually cut open. So if you use inkers, it kind of all depends. For one, the one thing about using the inkers is you're using liquid, totally, straight liquid on these. So you don't want it to streak on your project, right? So I would leave them overnight, and then I would also take and put them on like wax paper and roll them around a little, roll them. You almost have to you have to shift them around to totally dry. So what I'll do is I'll just add just one or two drops. So this is Daffodil Delight. So look how dark. This is Daffodil Delight in a blend. This is Daffodil Delight in the reinkers. Now, let me see. I just had a toothpick. I'll just use the end of this. So I'm going to stir this around then. So you're basically, it's the same thing. It's just that this is a lot wetter. So what I would do then, unless you want the fun effect of it streaking down some paper, you could try that if you like that look to make a background. You'd have these like squiggly lines, right? It's an idea. But now to take this, I would put it in something like, you could put it in this. This is just the outlines of our dimensionals, and I could take those and put them in here. and just let them sit in here, and then just move them around. Have them sit overnight. Okay, and just move them around, and then they will eventually dry. So you don't need to do all that, I don't think, if you're using the blends. But if you don't have the blends, this totally works too, doing it this way. And that's how I've always done it before. Like I said, I just experimented doing it with the blends when I made this card. So either way works, whatever works for you. All right, so let's take, and we're going to dump. We are going to take and dump these all in our card. Oh, look how fun. You've got now colored silica beads. You've got some flowers, and you've made them in different ways. And it all coordinates. So that's all that's done with this. I'm going to put these over here to dry. All right, so then that's that. So now we're going to take our, we're just going to take this, and we're going to just adhere this to the top. And we just have to line that up, so it's super simple. My glue dried on me. All right, here we go. So this one, you're going to have to go around the whole outline because you don't want it moving on your card, right? So just be very light-handed on the old glue because you don't want it oozing out. Even though it does dry clear, it'll still be tacky, and meaning, you know, it'll still be sticky even when it dries. So you don't want it to be like too much. And this glue, you know, especially on plastic like this envelope is, it's not going to take a lot to stick. It'll be pretty permanent. That's another reason I like using liquid glue. It is a pretty permanent glue. It's not one that's going to be loosening up or drying up to the point where it doesn't work anymore. So if you have something that you want to make sure it stays where you want it, liquid glue's your guy. All right. So I am going to just make sure that I am doing this right over the original one. And there you have it. Yes, and so now all we have to do is stamp our sentiment. And the reason I did this as, what happened to my little sander thing, black? Because I have so many fuzzies on this. It's driving me crazy. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to use the All the Love stamp. I love the font on this. Oops. All right. Yes, I agree. It is so much easier to make this card using this envelope. But you'd be surprised. I don't like that. That's crooked. Better. All right. And so I'm going to take, oh, shoot. I have a, ugh. All right. Let's try this one. Third time's a charm, maybe. All right. And I'm going to cut off. Let's see. We're going to go. All right. And so the reason I did this at 3.5 or 3/4, I mean, is I used this punch because you get a couple different first you get 3 different sizes of widths that you can use, and then you also have a scallop or like a movie ticket edge. So I thought that was just kind of, because this card is kind of scallopy looking right on the corners, I thought it was a good fit just to keep it simple. So I think I'm going to cut it a little more. And I'm going to use this. Okay. And I always am just eyeballing this, so sometimes I don't get the even edge, but we're going to go for it here. And the reason I'm putting this upside down is because I want to be able to see where C1 that I have the paper in here at the right angle, and I also can see how much it's going to get cut off. Not too bad, right? We're going with it. All right, so we made our little label. So I'm just going to take and attach that, and I'm just going to use glue as well. This is such a, it's a kind of a thick card because you've got that long piece in the center. So you don't really want to put too much stuff on dimensionals, I don't think, because it just makes it that much. Unless you're going to hand give this to someone, right? I'm just going to do that about right there. All right. So super fun. I kind of made it a little plainer. You'll see the difference. I did not make this to look too much like the Mediterranean Suite because I just wanted a different look for this card, and you'll see when I show you the other ones. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to just do the smaller flap, obviously, and I'm going to glue this up. Sorry if it's loud. Uh-oh. I went a little crazy. Oh, and you know what? My little silicone gel balls just went rolling. Oh, great. They're everywhere. This is an adhesive eraser. Strongly recommend getting one. We used to sell them. We don't anymore. I don't know why, because they're the best thing ever. All right, so all I'm going to do then is make sure this is down. And I'm just going to center it. I'm just going to line up the cardstock and press down. And we have our card. Super fun, super easy. And then to make it, so originally, like I said, this card, this fun fold is not meant to be a shaker card. I just added that into this. And so I thought, well, if you're going to put all this fun stuff here, let's make it like an easel card. So I added the embellishment piece into this as well. So let's get our embellishments, and I guess we'll use the yellow ones. Maybe the white ones would show up better. Nah, we'll do yellow. All right, so I'm going to use I'm going to use 3 of them. Now, if you, so this kind of gets a little heavy. On one of the cards I made that I'll be showing in a minute, the actual embellishments didn't stay after a while. I mean, they were there, but they moved. So I used, it's now stuck on my, serious. It's good adhesive. You guys, there we go. So I'm going to move this about there. And I'll put this one about here. All right, so by doing that, then we can have our card stand up. Okay. So super fun. I hope you like this card. I just think it's such an easy card. It's a wow card. It's just fun. So, do you want to see the other cards that I made that are with the suite? Let's see. Let me show you. Now these are all different. And I just used pieces that were from the dies. I used the negatives. So this is the traditional shaker card, right? So I had to build this. So as you can see, I used those adhesive strips and to go around. Because this has a lot of paper here, I put corner edges so that it would keep some of the embellishments and stuff inside, you know, more in view. So Jen, this is what this die would look like without using the outer cutting edge. So this was just a piece of paper. I believe it's just a little bit smaller than this. It was a scrap, and I just, you know, cut out the die, and I realized, oh. So it became the perfect thing to use with the leftover piece of this die cut, right? This is what was left over. So I incorporated it to be this card. This is actually, the green cardstock is actually a square. So how I did the die, I have 2 pieces of the window sheets. I have one on top of the green greenery. I have one underneath the greenery. And the reason I did that is because I don't want all the embellishments to get hung up on these leaves. So there's two, so there's actually, you've got your designers, I've got a, let's see, I've got a window sheet, I've got a die, I've got a window sheet, and I've got designer series paper. So I hope that makes sense. So it's super strong, but you know, and it's not hard to do this. It's just, it's a lot more steps. Is it a different look? Absolutely. It is a different look. So it's kind of what you like, right? And it depends, I'm sure, on what you're making as well. So, and so in this one, I took and I used the Wink of Stella, and I used the blender pens, and I drew in the little dots like I did on this one. And I've took corner pieces of the designer series paper, and in the beginning of the video when I was showing you the papers, I was saying how look at the corners, don't discard your designer series paper that doesn't have a complete image, because that I used, and I just cut them out by hand, a couple of them just to add something to the background, right? And so those are just things that, you know, that yes, they are not complete to be die cut, but you can use that paper and get the most out of your papers. So I did that, and then I just put in, I did some coloring of the beads, and then again I used the loose frosted dots, and I used some of the champagne iridescent dots. So that's that one. So when you open it up, I took and used Watermark or Versamark ink. This is just plain garden green cardstock, and I took the stamped image and I just used Versamark, and that's like a watercolor. It's a watercolor ink, so basically it takes whatever color you are working on and it enhances it. And then I just, you know, did the little DSP on the floors, or on the, on the floor, on the bottom. So that's one alternative. And the next one, so this is using more of the sweet. So I did the die cut on the designer series paper. I don't feel like I'm very good at coloring, so to me, I love it when the designer series paper works with the dies, because then, you know, I can I don't have to color. So this is just the plain cardstock. I use that die to get and use the tile part of the designer series paper. I made my little embellishments. I did the flowers. These are flowers from the designer series paper that I just used the dies with. This is actually this punch, and what I did was I used a strip of paper that was not as wide, obviously, as the punch, and look at the different look you get. So it's pretty cool. It's another way to use your punches to get more out of them. I just did it just to see what it would look like, and I really liked the effect. So that's another thing to think about. when you're using your dies, you can get more shapes out of them. And here, oh, actually, here's my scrap. So this was only a, this is an 1.5 inch strip. So when I put it through, it cut off the tips. So you got a different look totally. So that's just another little trick that I found when I did this. When you open it up, on this one, I just did simple stamping. Here's that little background stamp. I love little background stamps, and I just did the flowers. And then again, I put the embellishments so that it stands up. So when you get the card, it's going to look like this on your desk. Super cute, right? So that's another look. And then this one, I did the, I took the outline of what was cut out of here and used that as my background. This is when I used the embossing folder. That's the tile embossing folder. And so that just gave that such a nice look. It's just regular cardstock, but the thing that's awesome about it also is the folder is tiles, and so is this designer series paper. So I thought it was really cool how it tied together. Of course, the designs aren't the same, but they're very similar, and it's not even that important anyway that they match. So it gave it a lot of good texture, right? This is another die cut from this designer series paper. So that's what that one would look like. You also have a stamped image that's the same. Both of these are stamped images as well. And then I did my coloring of my silicone. Some of the silicas are matte and some of them are shiny. And then I just I stamped the stamps and did the flowers. This, I just took a strip of paper, I think it's probably a 1/2 inch, and I stamped my sentiment with just Old Navy, not Old Navy, what is it? Native Navy. And I took my blender pen and I just ran over the words after and made it a color, and so it matches, and it's super simple. This is alcohol ink, so it did not run when I did the coloring because they don't mesh, you know, the alcohol and the regular ink. Then I took another area of the designer series paper that was on an edge, so I already had a straight edge, right? So all I had to do was cut it out by hand around it, and that's what I used for the center of this part. And then I just used a scrap for the bottom of that. And again, it's going to sit up like that. So that's what you're going to see. So super fun. So this set is just a beautiful set. I love it, and I think that shaker cards are super fun. Another thing you could do, you could take with those adhesive sheets or the strips, you could cut out this shape, right, or any shape you want, and cut out you know, put a window sheet over it and build your little area so that you can fill for your shaker cards. So you can have shaker cards in any shape, really. It's just, you know, I like just doing it this way. It's easier. But it's definitely different, right? This is a different look than the bags. So lots of fun options, lots of things that you can do with this bundle. It's just a gorgeous bundle. So I don't know, we probably went really long. I don't even know. But it was such a fun suite, and really it's gorgeous. And I like this fun fold. So Jen, I am looking at these little beads and they are dry. So I can add those to the envelope. That's another thing that's cool about doing these this way with the envelopes. I can keep adding stuff to this if I wanted to, right? So before these end up everywhere, like the other ones on my table, I'm going to add this to this card. Before we go. So, but remember right now it is coupons days, and so every $50 you spend, I think, between now and the end of the month, you get a $5 coupon to spend in August, and there's no limit. So and I think today is free shipping still. I don't know. Not sure. But if you have any questions, guys, or anything, just let me know. I'm super happy that you watched. I hope this inspired you. It's like easy card. It's fun. And I just added, you know, the shaker piece to it, and I have two dogs begging for treats. And I just added the easel card kind of piece to it too. So you don't have to do any of that. You can just make that same card. Stop, 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 stop. Come here. Come here. Oh. Here they are. My troubled children. Ugh. But you can just build that front piece any way you want. You don't have to make it a shaker card. You don't have to, you know, do any of that. So it's a simple, fun card. But with that, before my dogs drive everyone crazy, I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Thanks for watching.